All right, this is Alex Anist. I just finished teaching a lesson where I was going over one octave scales. A lot of times on the guitar, we deal with a scale shape that starts on the low E string and goes all the way up to the high E string. The most common one that people know would just be the major scale. A lot of people stop on this G. I don't know why people do that, because this note is usable in the key. That note is usable as well. So the topic turned to modes, and what we ended up doing was one octave modes in C, starting in 4 different places on the neck. So if you start on the low E string on a C and you're doing a Dorian mode, my thought on this was it's a good place to do 3 notes per string. It lays pretty well with 3 notes per string like that. And you can easily get all your minor modes just by, so we have a C Dorian. It's got a natural 6th, a flat 7, and a flat 3. Flat 3, natural 6, flat 7. We can flat the 6 for a natural minor. And we can flat the 2 and keep the 6 flat for a Phrygian. So that's a 1 octave run through of the modes. There you have the exact same fingering if you start here. Dorian, natural minor, and Phrygian. Oh, I almost messed that up. Right? Okay. And at some point in this video, I'm going to say Lydian when I mean Phrygian. I do that all the time. I've been doing it for like 20 years, so I know it's going to happen. Now that I've said it, maybe I'll get lucky and it won't happen. Now those 2 string groups, you're pretty much always going to have 3 notes per string because the guitar tunes in fourths. If you don't know what I'm talking about with regards to how the guitar tunes, every string is a 4th higher except between the G and the B. So now that we get to this string group, it's probably more convenient not to do 3 notes per string. And I'm all about what's convenient here. So I'm not going up to the 9th anymore. You certainly can if you want, but I'm going to go 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. Or natural minor. So as a result, with the Dorian, we have 2 notes on the top string. No, I lied. 2 notes on the middle string. And with the natural minor, we have 2 notes on the top string, but 3 notes on the middle string. And then we get to Phrygian. See, I did it. We get to Lydian. No, I did it right. Damn it. We get to Phrygian with the flat 2. Okay? All right. And then then the last string group is here, starting on C. We have Dorian with 2 notes on the middle string, natural minor with a position shift, and I'm going to start going up to the 9th now because of the position shift. So 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, 2. Ha! Don't go too fast, kids. Okay, and then the the Phrygian with the flat 2. Okay, so the point of all this is what I've been trying to do with teaching these 1-octave scales is teach students about movable scales. One, so if you have a 1-octave scale, you can move it. If you're a beginning student, just move it up and down in different keys on the same string group. So I like the shape of this Dorian. That's C Dorian. Pah! This is what happens when you're not warmed up. That's B flat Dorian, A Dorian, G Dorian. Okay, I can move that around. The other thing that I liked about it from an improvising standpoint, it just helps me to kind of I might go out of the scale, but it helps me to organize my brain around a certain sound. So, you know, I'm in this Dorian sound. I can move and combine the shapes. But it just is a way of focusing my brain instead of a scale shape that's like this big giant thing. I tend to feel like scales themselves are already pretty big conceptually. I don't like to think about whole scales most of the time. So, I mean, I don't really like to think when I'm playing. So this is just another way of shortening my focus down. Now, if you don't understand these modes, I will go over them quickly. The natural minor, well, the Dorian mode is a scale with a flat 3, which makes it a minor mode. Any scale that has a flat 3 and a natural 5 and a 1, which would be all scales, is a minor mode because you can play a minor triad. You can play that mode over a minor triad. So any scale that has those 3 notes in it, if C is the root, is a C minor mode. So for this first one we have Dorian. It's got a 1, a 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. Natural minor, also known as Aeolian, is exactly the same, except it has a flat 6. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. Phrygian is exactly the same as natural minor. It has the flat 3 and the flat 6, except that it also has a flat 2. 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. Flat 2 if you want to reach it, which you should. Okay, now that is how I think about the modes, as in how they relate to the actual root of the mode. A lot of people relate to the modes as being a major scale but starting on a different note besides the root. So the Dorian mode, this C Dorian mode, it has all the same notes as a B flat major scale. It just is starting on C, the 2. So how we describe that is we say that C Dorian is the second mode of B flat major. Or another way to say it is B flat major is the parent scale of C Dorian, meaning you get C Dorian from the notes, with the notes from a B flat scale. I find that way of thinking about it less useful for me, but I'm not like judgy about how people think about music. It doesn't make sense. Everybody has a different way of thinking about it. C natural minor. Okay, its parent scale is E flat major. C natural minor is the sixth mode of E flat major, meaning if you start an E flat major scale on the sixth note, if that's your tonic, then that is a C Aeolian or C natural minor scale. C minor is the sixth mode of E flat major. And C Phrygian is the third mode of A flat major. So A flat major is the parent scale of C Phrygian. All right, so that's two ways of thinking about modes. You can think about modes in terms of how they relate to a major scale. That would be the relative way of thinking of them, just like we say relative major, relative minor. That's one way of thinking about modes. And then you can think about modes in terms of what notes change when we stay in the same key. That's the parallel way of thinking about modes. And that is a way that is probably harder to grasp for a lot of people, but I think it's for me anyways, I find it more useful. All right, so that's a lot of information on modes and some basic ways to play them. Hopefully that's useful, and remember to stay inside. All right, talk to you later. Bye.